Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. How are you all doing? My name is Amanda Ellis, and a very warm welcome to my channel. Today is the 19th of September. I do hope that you are well. I'm sorry that I have been away from YouTube for a little bit. Many of you know I've taken a little bit of a mental health break, and that is continuing, so I'm not pushing it too hard at the moment, looking after myself, as I encourage all of you to as well. It's a very brutal world out there, and if you are a sensitive, if you are an empath, then you really need to be watching and prioritizing and looking after self right now. So I'm back this week. I'm going to be producing a couple of videos, also doing some work for my members on YouTube. Thank you very much for supporting me. Thank you for tuning into this video. What else to say? Let's just get going with it. Okay, so I'll go to split screen at various points during this video, so you can see some of the cards that I'm using. I'd also like to weave in a little bit of numerology, a little bit of King Arthur energy, a little bit of soul contract energy. We're going to be primarily looking at the mess that has been created by Prince Andrew and Sarah Fergusson, linked of course to Virginia Giuffre and the revelations that are coming out of her new book soon. Obviously she died last year, and you know, the first thing to say is, of course, I am a Brit, so I have over many years done readings on the royal family. You can see them below. I am a supporter of the royal family, but like probably 99.9% of the people in the UK who are a supporter of the royal family, you don't have to be, and if you aren't, don't bother watching the video. But if you are, I think most of us can safely say no one has had any time for Prince Andrew for many years. I'm also just being reminded by Spirit, of course, that this isn't just a UK thing. Of course, the royal family, King Charles is also king of many Commonwealth countries as well, and there are strong allegiances there as well. So, yeah, I just felt like I wanted to say something with regards to the latest happenings. It isn't a subject I've particularly wanted to get my teeth into, but I heard something basically a couple of days ago, before the latest round of news, whereby Prince Andrew has been, or he has said that he's not going to be using his titles anymore. He is, of course, the Duke of York. He's also the Knight Grand Cross and Order of the Garter. I think it also his titles. I don't believe his titles have been revoked, and that's because if they revoked them, it would hurt his daughters, Princess Beatrice and Eugenie. And I'd like to talk about them in this video as well, because it very much feels as though it's a case of sins of the father, probably the mother as well. And is there a case for redemption and forgiveness, particularly with regards to their offspring, who have been brought up maybe in a certain world, may or may not have known what their parents were up to? And put it this way, as a daughter myself, we're all daughters and sons of somebody, to have had those two as parents, that is a heavy thing. It's a heavy mantle to be living with. I would like to think that they could become clean-up agents, actually. That's what I've written down here, Beatrice and Eugenie. I think King Charles and even King William, when he will become King William, would find it hard to get rid of Beatrice and Eugenie. But we'll do some cards and we'll have a look. But back to what I heard before all this stuff about, you know, he's not going to be using his titles anymore. And I'm sure there are further revelations to come out, which is why this stance has been taken. I'm going to be careful how I say this. I felt that he was dead. basically. Now, it could be that this is the end of him. You know, it's almost as though the family washing their hands of him. You are dead to me. We've all heard that expression. But I have just got a question mark over something, and I wanted to share it with you. If we go back to Princess Diana, many people believe that she was taken out, okay? I myself do believe that. And it's what I instinctively felt when I heard she had died. I was abroad a couple of days late in hearing that she had died, saw a newspaper, and it was just a gut instinct. And I remember saying to myself, they've got her, you know, they've done it, they've taken her. Who they are, of course, is a different matter. And I feel it is shadowy figures that live far above the eyes of public consumption, not necessarily people that we know of, but who actually are the real rulers of our world, who lie in the shadows, really. Now, anyway, why I'm bringing Diana into it is that if you believe that she was taken out, the hypothesis is that she was taken out because she was going to do damage to the royal family by, for example, marrying Dodi, being a loose cannon, whatever, you know? Now, this guy, Prince Andrew, has done more damage to the royal family than she potentially ever could. And as I heard death, basically, around Andrew, I also just felt this question mark come into my mind in terms of not wishing anybody dead, of course, but why is he still around? Why is he still alive, basically? If he knows what he knows, he is a loose cannon, he is unpredictable, he's very arrogant, he's never going to change. In terms of the existing members of the royal family, Charles and William in particular, they are stuck between a rock and a hard place with this guy. So I'm just going to leave that with you. It's just interesting to me that he's still around, actually. And my screen just went black as I said that. I feel as though if I was advising him, which I would find very difficult to do, I would be saying, watch your back. Really watch your back. Because if they were able to take Diana out, there is no way that you are not indispensable. Or dispensable. I always get that the wrong way round, you know. So he's in a much more dangerous position than he knows. However, he is also protected. And I'm just going to show a card here that is one of these 4 cards that at the moment I haven't revealed what they are. This is from Echoes of the Unsolved. As I always do when I'm thinking, shall I do a video on something? Shall I not? I always pull a few cards. And if they're sort of worth exploring, I then come on and start to talk to you. And this first card says it all. Let's turn it over. It says guilty knowledge. Guilty knowledge. So is he worth more dead than alive? Is the question. It's in the balance with him with regards to he is safe in terms of his life if he continues to not spill the beans, basically, because he has knowledge of much that went on. I will just do the other cards that are here whilst we're talking, and then I want to get back to some of the other points. The next card that came out was Smokescreen. The next card that came out was Protected Witness. Now, I've never gone there with regards to Jeffrey E. I know there's a lot of speculation in terms of is he dead? Is he alive? I've always assumed he was dead. I suppose this could also be Virginia. Maybe there's controversy with regards to both of them. Are they dead or are they alive? And I know at this point I sound like a complete conspiracy theorist, but the card is the card, and those are the 2 names that best fit. I would think probably more likely Jeffrey E. If he were still alive. Is he somehow a protected witness? Because these 2 cards that follow it are altered timeline and altered records. So they sort of speak for themselves. This could also be linked into the photograph, the famous photograph showing Virginia with Prince Andrew. Some people have said that that is a fake. Others are saying, no, it's completely legit. I don't know. Might not even be linked into that particular photograph. One thing I would like to say at this point, though, and in no way defending Andrew, is I just find it interesting that all of the other people that visited the island, where are their names? We're just focused on one guy at the moment, which is Andrew. Interesting that the crystal fell like that. You know, in the old days, his head would have literally come off. He would have been in the tower, whether he was a prince or not. You know, if he was threatening the institution, be off with you. Anyhow, those are the cards. We'll come back to them, but they do say something, do they not? So what do I want to say in this video then? Here are a few pieces. I want to go back actually in terms of what has caused this whole scandal with Andrew. So obviously there is a link with sex and maybe potential perversion or not, I don't know. That's obvious. But beyond that, the one word that I get more than anything with both him and Sarah is greed. Greed. Now, greed is, of course, one of the 7 deadly sins. And it strikes me that well-known families, whether they be royal or anybody really that's in the public eye, but particularly something like a royal family, and by this we can also bring in other royal families around the world, because the UK is not the only country to have a royal family. You could also talk about dynasties with regards to maybe, for example, American politics, whether it's the Kennedys, whether it's whoever it is, the Clintons, etc. They often will play out scripts and archetypal energies that many of us also share, not to the same degree, but to a lesser degree. And it's almost as though they are, you know, if you believe, as Shakespeare said, all the world is a stage and we are all merely, you know, players who are coming and going, etc. You've got these powerful figures who are in the spotlight, in the news, who are showing the best and the worst of humanity. And over and above the obvious things that Andrew has done, and that would also be linking in not just to sex, but also corruption and money, laundering is what I'm hearing. That's a big thing to say, allegedly. There is greed. I mean, I suppose money is also greed, isn't it? The insatiable need for more. And, you know, he was a pampered prince who was always given what he wanted. It was said to be the Queen's favourite son. Whether or not that's true or not, I don't know. But let's get back to greed. So I wanted to go right back to the beginning and have a look at his date of birth, and also Sarah's date of birth, because she's also been stripped of her title. Now, they are divorced, but they've always remained very close. And she's been invited back to a few royal events recently. There was a funeral of somebody, I think it was Princess Michael of Kent's funeral, I think it was hers, where Andrew and Fergie managed to, I'm hearing gate crash the wedding at the funeral, but there's a point where Andrew is standing beside William with a face, William's face is like thunder, absolute thunder, because there's no way he wanted to be anywhere near the vicinity of this guy. It is also said that you can't really say the stripping of titles, but the reality of Andrew not being able to use his titles anymore is William's doing, and that feels right to me. It also feels that when William becomes king, this guy will be pretty much dead to the family. He will be as dust, you know, that it just will not be in any way, any shape or form invited or participating in any royal event whatsoever. But anyway, let's go back to the numerology. So Prince Andrew was born 28th of October. No, sorry, he was born the 19th. I'm reading the numerology. He was born the 19th of February, 1960, which makes him numerologically a 28-10-1. There's a lot of ego in those numbers. I'm going on colour numerology. So 28 is a positive vibration. It's an energy of new beginnings. 10 is the wheel of fortune, which is fate, and 1 is the sun. But all of those three numbers have yellow associated with them. And there's no such thing as a bad number or a good number or a bad colour or a good colour. But the negative side of yellow is ego. So it does feel, with that energy of new beginnings and wheel of fortune, as though he was somebody at soul group level in that family, and I would also say within that country, because remember, people can also take on country-specific soul contracts, which is true of many of our leaders and people in high up places. He was always going to bring a new beginning, and in many ways he has, because what is happening is that there is a reduction in who is within the royal family, who will be in it going forward. William has always said that he wants a reduced royal family, and it's going to be very reduced. It's literally going to be, William, Catherine, the children, Sophie, Edward, maybe a few others. Harry, big question mark. Meghan, absolutely no way, but I think they'll be divorced long before William probably takes the throne anyway. It's a small band of people that is left, but it depends. The survival of the royal family is about the power of the reduction. Isn't there something in cooking whereby you reduce something down, but actually it becomes more concentrated in flavour? And that can be a good thing. So I feel that going forward, Andrew, some people would say he's bringing the demise of the royal family. I don't think it's the demise of the royal family. I think it is a new beginning for the royal family. I think it is a reduction, basically, a reduction of what once was. And this was always on track and what William wanted anyway. Not what Andrew's done, of course. I'm just talking about the number of people within the functioning royal family. So anyway, yeah, it's just interesting. Andrew has got the energy of new beginnings, wheel of fortune, and also the energy of number 1, which is the big I am. It's the big ego energy. It's also, got good things about it, of course. It's bright, elusive, exuberant, I was going to say happy. He hasn't looked happy for a long time, but is the way that he's behaved over many decades because of a deep unhappiness. I don't know. I mean, it's also solar plexus related. So the hunger for power and the hunger for domination and control. Anyway, that's him. And it all boils down to this energy of greed. And then he meets Sarah Fergusson. She was born the 15th of October, 1959. She works out at a 31-4 numerology. Now, what's interesting about that, number 31, I'm just pulling out the bits that are relevant, is linked into the energy of boundaries. She has none. She has no boundaries. The stuff that's coming out right now with regards to Giuffre E basically bankrolling Sarah for many, many years, even after Giuffre E is in complete disgrace and has been to prison. This lady is hanging on to his coattails for dear life. Why? Because of the money. It's greed again. I don't think it's so much power with her. I think it's just an insatiable need for money, well, I am hearing status actually as well, but it's money in particular, living beyond your means. There's a deep inferiority and insecurity wound with Sarah. And sometimes you get these people who come together and they bring out the absolute worst in each other. And that's what this marriage did for these two. And the fact they've never been able to unstick themselves from each other is very telling, isn't it? I really feel for their daughters, though. I really do. So that's what I've written down here. I also wanted to bring in the fact that this new beginning that Andrew brings in, I mean, in a very weird way, not in a noble way, not in a virtuous way, not in a way that anybody would be proud of, but it's almost like a byproduct of who he is, what he's done, what he's been associated with. Does bring in the new beginning. It's almost like the final straw that changes forever the nature and the way that the royal family looks, but I do believe it endures. The other thing that strikes me is I want to sort of weave in a bit of King Arthur here, because those of you that have watched me for a number of years know that I've been talking about the King Arthur template. I've done a lot of work with regards to Prince William. Again, I heard Spirit say he is Arthur. Now, whether he is actually returning Arthur or whether he carries the template of Arthur, we can debate ad nauseum. But ultimately, the whole King Arthur energy with regards to my channel came in because I heard Spirit say about William, he's Arthur. Now, if he's bringing back an Arthurian template, it comes in on the back of betrayal, loss. It's just like the end of the road, basically. It's just like an end of the road type energy. And then something has to rise from the ashes. And I believe the ashes are the King Arthur energy. So at this point, I think I'd just like to pull some cards and see what we get. Okay, so that's what I've written down on my notes. I'm just noting that next week, Charles is off to see the Pope, and I think it's the first time in something like 500 years that the King and the Pope will be praying together. Spiritually, I find that quite interesting. Now, of course, Charles is unwell, still having treatment for cancer. May very well be a trip that is just to do with that and bringing in energy of healing, as well as anything else that they're praying for with regards to the state of the world, etc. But I also am picking up something else in the ethers with regards to this meeting, which is a baptism or a cleansing of that which has gone before. There's definitely something else at play energetically with that meeting between the King and the Pope. And it feels as though it is about washing and cleansing the family line for the future. The future, it depends how you view the royal family, but on one half, people will be saying, well, they're done, they're finished. But the other half of the page shows William, Catherine, and their 3 children in particular. And there is a very strong energy of growth there, of hope, of resilience, of no matter what, this perseveres, but in a completely different form to that which has been before. Years ago, I did a channeling with Princess Diana, and she showed me that at the moment that William has the crown put on him at the anointment of being king, the energy of the Holy Spirit comes down and works through him in a stronger way. And I always remembered that because it always felt very, very powerful to me. So right now we are in what Metatron is saying is the final act of this play. And the play I'm talking about has been the history of the royal family up to this point in time. The curtain is about to come down. There will be a new play. There will be a new act. There will be new players that are already around. I'm talking William in particular, who take this forward and write a new chapter and indeed a new book. But it can't be stained by the past. So everything that's happening now has to be revealed and will be revealed. Of course, in the middle of all of this are innocent victims, Virginia, and everything that, needs to be aired with regards to what has happened. And yeah, justice has to be served. So let's get to it. Let's see what cards want to come out. Let me just put these over here for now and go to some fresh cards. So I'm going to pull a card firstly, is that such a word? First, for William, okay? Because it's almost like I'd like to almost work back. I'd like to see the energy of the future with William, and then we'll work back with regards to where we are now. Okay, so the energy of Prince William. It's exactly what I just said. We've got breakthrough. It says a rebirth from the ashes. And this is really interesting as well, what's on the bottom of the deck. Let me just show you. Wow. Okay. I'm going to take that one as well. Okay, so the first card we have for William is a rebirth from the ashes. It's exactly what I just said. This card, frozen in time, stagnant and cold, this is the King Arthur energy. Because, again, those of you that follow my work and have seen the whole series of videos that I've done on this, Arthur is the sleeping lord. In this other deck, the Arthurian Tarot, my ear is now ringing really loudly in the left. So Spirit are confirming this. And what was asleep and almost frozen over is coming back to life. And it's this Arthurian energy. Together with the energy of light work and service. This was very much the Princess Diana energy, which is that it's pretty much about selfless service, actually, humble service to the crown, to the people, to the community. William gets that. We've also got the energy of Lord Ganesh, which is overcoming obstacles. So William's going to be okay. The future with him is sealed. I also brought this card in because I think this came up maybe in another reading. I can't remember. But anyway, this is about vulnerability. Feel the rose petals of love. You could say this is Kate, but to me, this is, it's the divine feminine energy. But I was pulling it for William, and I feel as though the experience with his wife's illness, I feel this is his wife, got the small little waist there, has made him much more vulnerable. He's on record recently, actually, in some interview, saying that he never used to cry as much as he cries now. He wells up, and there was a beautiful video that was released for World Mental Health Awareness Day a couple of weeks ago, where he's talking to the wife of somebody who committed suicide but also had lost her son. And the lady says, I think William says to her, what would you have said to him? What would you like to have said to him before he did the deed? And she says something like, I wish I could have just told him that it was all going to be okay, that we would have been okay. And at that, William wells up and gets very emotional, and she sort of has to reach out a hand and say, are you okay? Because this is the whole thing, isn't it? Of course, it was always Meghan that said, something along the lines of, nobody has ever asked if I'm okay. Has anyone ever asked if this guy is okay? Has anyone actually fully appreciated the weight that he's got on his shoulders? Not just with regards to himself, his family, but his lineage, his ancestry, his country, the Commonwealth. I mean, it's just enormous burden that this guy carries. But this vulnerability that he has is going to serve him very well, because what vulnerability does is it connects you with people. He's able to understand the energies of, for example, loss, betrayal, etc., because he's experienced them. So they're good cards for him. Okay, I wanted to start there just because I know this is a bit of a heavy old subject, so I wanted to know that we're going to be all right, and it looks like we are. Okay, let's now have a look at Andrew and Fergie. I mean, where to start? I mean, really, let's go back to these cards. Guilty knowledge, smoke screen, protected witness, altered timeline, altered records. Okay, this could also be, this altered records thing could be the fact that it's being reported in the papers today here that Andrew contacted somebody in MI5 and gave them Virginia's social security number to try to dig up some dirt on her, basically. I mean, it's just absolutely appalling. It's just awful, absolutely awful. God rest her soul. But, the fact that he did that. So is this also complicity within, the secret services, for example, protecting their own? Ultimately, if, Geoffrey E., his list comprised all of the powerful people, not all of the powerful people, but there were segments from all of the powerful sectors in our world, across all countries, across all political lines, in many of the rich and famous families. We just happen to be talking about the royal family, but there are other famous families in the world very connected to this, or certainly some people within the family, because this is the whole point about the family, isn't it? Think about your own family. There can be a bad apple, there can be more than one bad apple. It doesn't mean that the whole tree is tainted. So I'm going back to the energy of his daughters, Eugenie and Beatrice in particular. And I really feel, from a spiritual perspective, I've written, and I've said already, clean-up agents. How powerful would it be if they could somehow redeem their aspect of the family line by doing, some really good work going forward? I'm hearing it's sink or swim for them. So, to be honest, that is the highest timeline and path for them. Let's pull a couple of cards actually for the daughters, because I think we all know really, Andrew's business, unfortunately. We can certainly guess at it, but let's just have a look at the daughters. So show me the energy of, and I'm going to, they're individuals, so let's just do them separately. Let's have one card for Beatrice. So Beatrice, rightly or wrongly, very much looks like her father. Okay, and we've got the card of the Ten of Cups here, and we've also got the Moon on the bottom of the deck. We've also got Justice, and we've also got the Hanged Man, and we've also got the Five of Cups and the King of Wands and Strength. So I know what this is saying very easily. What this is saying is that I feel that Beatrice, the one who looks like her dad, has always been a bit of a daddy's girl, okay? Whether she knew, whether she didn't know, I don't know. The cards aren't saying here, although there's an implication that the happy family that, you saw or she saw, there was always something that didn't quite add up. And she's now realising that the illusion and the deceit and what has not been revealed during all the previous decades of her life with regards to what she thought was her happy family. And this is the King of Wands is Andrew. So for her, he was, as most daughters and fathers, many daughters and fathers have a relationship where, you look up to your father. He's king of your world. He's the strong character in your life. But she's definitely now having a revision of thoughts. The Hanged Man is saying that she's having to face the weight of evidence and come to a decision with regards to him. Whatever he's been in the past, how she feels now is an orphan. The Five of Cups. And she feels as though, it's interesting because this card here, the Five of Cups, has somebody drowning in a river. And I feel that's Andrew, it's the energy of Andrew, drowning, symbolically, calling out for help. And this person, which I think is Beatrice, is standing on the bank, not even listening. She's turned away from the person here who's calling for help. She's done with it. And it's creating depression. It's creating very dark thoughts, all these clouds. She's still got two cups standing, though. I suspect these are her children. I don't know how many children she's got, but I think these are her children. So somehow she's got to claw her way back from how she's feeling at the moment. But yeah, the moon and the happy family. She's saying to herself, was it ever really a happy family? Let me pull one card with regards to how she feels about her mother, because I don't see the mother here. I just feel this is linked into the dad. Beatrice, how she feels about her mother. Page of Wands, it's exactly the same. Look at that. There's the mother. There's the mother. There's her walking away, turning her back, walking away, and walking away quite fast. Wands is speed. So both of these cards, that's Sarah, that's Andrew. This figure, which I'm seeing here as Beatrice, is moving away, not wanting to hear. And, you know, if I was her, I would feel like that as well. Blimey, I wouldn't want. Very difficult, very difficult. Let's put those cards back in to the deck and reshuffle, because I want to see if similar ones come up for her sister. Let's just give them a good shuffle. So Eugenie, I can't remember. I think Eugenie is the younger one. She doesn't look as much like Andrew, which, you know, is normal. Often you can have one child that looks more like the... I've heard actually that the firstborn often looks more like the father. Certainly true in my family. My firstborn looks very much like John, and my second daughter looks more like me. Anyway, that's by the by. Okay, so Eugenie. Let's just have Eugenie's energy. Okay, those two cards just sort of flipped out. So again, this would be Andrew, King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles, of course, has got money, so money and status. Don't know what Eugenie's astrology sign is, but I feel as though she likes the nice things of life. But it's next to the Ten of Swords. Again, dead to me. Absolutely dead to me. We've also got the King of Wands on the bottom of the deck as well. Okay, let's just see if there's anything else to say with regards to her, Eugenie. How she feels about her mother. Let's see how she feels about her mother. Hierophant on the bottom of the deck. She feels like her whole world has ended. The Hierophant, of course, is, you know, it's law, it's order, it's structure, it's marriage, it's governance, it's absolutely can be linked into parents as well, you know, and this is a nightmare, really. This is a battle. She's trying to assert her own position above the fray. Is she trying to stand up for her mother, maybe? That could be that, maybe a little bit. Is there an aspect where she doesn't really want to believe what's being said of her mum? Let's just have one more card. Eugenie, how Eugenie feels about her mother. Show me how Eugenie feels about her mother. Show me how Eugenie feels about her mother. Yeah. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Of the two girls, Eugenie feels the more fickle of the two. Interesting. The one who looks more like her father is the one who's more likely to wash her hands of him and walk away. Eugenie, who doesn't look as much like him, feels like she can be paid off a little bit more, allegedly, for entertainment purposes only, I have to say at this point. If she's the younger one, I think I'm right in thinking she's the younger one, the baby of the family can sometimes be the apple of daddy's eye, you know? So is he quite good at being able to twist her around his little finger? Although we were talking about the mum, weren't we? So sorry, what I just said there, reverse it with regards to Sarah, the mother. Don't feel as comfortable in her energy. One more card. Show me Eugenie's energy. It's interesting. The Magician was on the bottom of the deck just now, and it's on the bottom of the deck now again. This is the Eight of Swords. She could free herself if she wanted to, but she doesn't particularly have the inclination to at the moment. She could particularly free herself because she's got the blinking Magician on the bottom of the deck. She's tied. She feels beholden. She is blindfolded. She doesn't want to accept it. She doesn't want to accept it. This card, well, let's go back to this card. Sorry, I got it wrong. So this is Sarah, how she feels about her mother. Her mother is able to pull the wool over her eyes a little bit more than the other one. She's more trapped. I don't know why she's more trapped, but she is. Okay. Let's have a look at... I don't really need to pull cards on Charles's... There we go, there's Charles. Charles's view to them, although the cards have come out anyway. Charles's view with regards to Eugenie and Beatrice, he has in mind what his mother would want him to do. And his mother, the late Queen, would want them looked after because they were her grandchildren. And whatever her son might have done, which she may or may not have excused or turned a blind eye to, I don't know, I'm not reading on that right now. But with regards to her grandchildren, she wouldn't want, yeah, there they are, the grandchildren. She'd want to know that they were okay. She had a soft spot for, if she had a soft spot for Andrew, she certainly had a soft spot for his children, his daughters. She loved them. So Charles isn't going to want to do anything to rock the boat, which is why the titles haven't been fully revoked. Ten of Swords just came out again, the card of endings. I don't usually do this in a reading, but you know, I did hear death for a reason, didn't I? Show me the energy of death around Andrew. Is it just symbolic, energetic? Show me the energy of death around Andrew. It's not showing it here in these cards. We've got Temperance as well, which is patience. Okay. What was I asking? I wanted to ask about William. Okay, because William's the future. Show me William's energy right now with regards to Beatrice and Eugenie. And I am going to put them together because at the end of the day, if an action was taken against either of them, it would be to both of them. You know, he wouldn't just cast one out and not the other. I'm not saying I feel that. No, we've got the energy of love. Yeah, I'm the energy of Eight of Pentacles. He wants to be able to make it work because he sees the vision of him becoming king. He sees them as part of helping him to make it work. Okay. There's certainly nothing in William's energy right now where he's wanting to exile his cousins. His uncle, very different matter. Let's just pull the card on that actually. Show me, have I already done that? I can't remember if I have. Show me William's attitude towards his uncle, Andrew. William's energy to Andrew. Show me William's energy to Andrew. The Three of Pentacles. The Three of Cups. The Ace of Pentacles. I know what this is. I'll just have one more card. This is very much the energy of you've made your bed, so you're going to lie in it. Okay, this is all your. This is all your own doing. This is all your work. Are you proud of yourself? Looking back, are you proud of what you've done? I don't know whether he drinks. I'm seeing as though he's aware that Andrew drinks quite a lot. This is also the energy of partying. Ace of Pentacles wants to pay him off. This is literally like he knows what he is. you know, he was always called the party prince, wasn't he? You know, when I was growing up in the 80s, Randy Andy, that's what all the headlines called him. You know, none of this has been secret. He wants to pay him off. His new start, William's new start, arrives once this guy is out of the gate, across the mountains, over the other side of the mountains, completely out of sight. Split the deck. Strength. And he's going to do it with some strength. Some strength. There's the mountain as well. That also feels a bit like Diana, you know, Diana whispering in William's ear saying, do it, get rid of him, basically. What's this card poking out there? Yeah, 5 of Swords, victory at any cost. Now, normally that card I don't typically like. But in this scenario, there is no win-win solution. There is just an imperfect, horrible mess to clear up. So exiling the uncle has to be done. He will be victorious. This is William. There will be price to be paid for this exile, whether that is in the form of, I don't know, Andrew writing a book or getting his comeuppance somehow. There's also a loss to William. He's lost a member of his family. It could be that, you know, the cousins don't speak to him again. I don't know. I'm just speculating now. It's not what I'm getting from Spirit. But there's a personal loss associated with the banishment of the uncle. But it has to be done. Split the deck. The Magician. He's got the strength to be able to do it. He's also got all of the tools and the skills to be able to do it. And whatever mess is created after the exile, it can be made right, you know. Not for Andrew, but for William. Okay. I think to end this, we are going to pull a few more cards from this deck, which is Echoes of the Unsolved by Ashley at the Reckoning Co. And I'm just going to ask, what else is there to say with regards to particularly Prince Andrew and where this leads? Prince Andrew. One more card, please, for Prince Andrew. Exit wound. Pattern break. Coerced confession. Split the deck. Broken or false alibi. When Prince Andrew was being interviewed by Emily Matis on some news programme years ago, he came up with this absolutely bloody ridiculous and insulting alibi for why he couldn't possibly have met Virginia Giuffre on a particular day. And he said something, it was just so damn offensive in terms of thinking everyone is so stupid. He said he was in Pizza Hut, you know, a chain of pizza restaurants here in the UK, on that particular day. And he obviously wasn't. It was obviously made up. So I don't quite know how they prove, or maybe they already have proved that he wasn't ever there. But anyway, his alibi is broken or false. We knew that. Coerced confession is interesting. I wonder who can turn the screws, as it were, to get the confession out of him, because, you know, the guy is the height of arrogance and wouldn't want to. What's that card trying to show itself? Legal loophole. Yeah, he'll try everything to, and has tried everything to keep himself free. But there's some sort of coerced confession coming in. Exit wound worries me a little bit with regards to what I was hearing with regards to his aliveness or not. Let's have clarification on exit wound. This card here, pattern break, makes me think of, you know, you see these TV shows where they're looking at all the screens, the emergency services, you know, of, you know, an ambulance required or fire engine, etc. You know, the services. Just reminds me of that for whatever reason. Clarification on exit wound. Double agent, diversion tactic. Well, this is him and Geoffrey E, the best of friends. Geoffrey E was absolutely a double agent working for other, I'm just going to say parties. I'm not going to get into all of that on here. Thank you very much. Most of you know who he was a double agent for. Diversion. Andrew is being, I think Andrew is guilty of sin and deserves everything that's coming for him. Don't get me wrong. But he's also being used right now as a diversion tactic to stop people talking about something even bigger with regards to this. Who was buddying up to who and for what reason. But didn't really answer exit wound, did it? We've also got double cross. Double agent, double cross. Let's just pull one more from here. And then I'm going to leave it for today. I'm getting a bit tired. It's not the lightest of subjects to have come back on, but I did want to address the elephant in the room. One more card, exit wound, forensics. Fractured alliance. Whoever Andrew had alliances with and whoever was protecting him up to now has completely and utterly, you know, washed their hands of him. Don't know, this exit and forensics. It could be he's just got to watch his back, or it could be this is crimes committed by somebody. Remember, he had the card of knowing more. I can't remember where the card is now. The card which was to do with knowing things, basically. I'm going to leave it there, I think. But let's just say a prayer, actually. And let's try and end on an energy of hope and healing and peace. So the first thing to say is to send the energy of healing and peace out to all the victims of Geoffrey E. To Virginia, wherever she is, thanking her for her strength to stand up to the system, for all the corruption and all the disease to be exposed, and for those responsible rightfully charged, for the release of all names, for the continuation of that which is good and honest and pure, and the dismantling of anything that is not. I'd like to send prayers to William, who carries the weight of this institution on his shoulders, to his wife, his children, and I'm going to end it there. Thanks very much for listening. Take great care. Bye-bye for now. Remember to like and hype the video. It's got a rhyme to it. Bye-bye. Bye.